he just went low. He's in his head. He's in his head. He's open his head wide open. Cracked open in the face.
And welcome everyone, it's Motorman 2100 back again with the first campaign impressions series, and we're back with the Final Fantasy franchise with Final Fantasy VIII Remastered for the Sony PlayStation 4. I was keeping quiet because I thought maybe the music might have been licensed music, but apparently it's not. Okay. so I obviously have history with Final Fantasy VIII, as well as some of the classic series in general, with especially the PS1 games. This is the series that my dad played a lot. He ended up having copies of 7, 8, 9, 10. I believe he had 10 to at one stage, maybe. He had 12. I think he played some of the classic games as well, between 1 and 6, through obviously the PS1 collections. But he's definitely played 7, which obviously was his favourite. He's played 8, he's played 9, played 10. And played 12. And eventually I didn't get into the franchise until playing, or at least playing with him, Final Fantasy XIII, which I know is a crazy game to start off with, but in terms of like the franchise, with Final Fantasy, obviously I've played a little bit of the Final Fantasy VII Remastered for the 7 Remake. I've played a little bit of 7 Original. I've played a little bit of, obviously done the First Impressions series for 12, like Zodiac Age, for 10, for 10-2, and then obviously for 15 and 16 as well. But when it comes to the classic games, I haven't played that many. Obviously, like I said, I've played a little bit of 7, but I do technically still have the demo disc for Final Fantasy VIII for the PlayStation 1. I think it came through the PlayStation magazine a long time ago, and I do have a disc for that, so I eventually might go back to that. But yeah, Final Fantasy VIII, obviously on the heels of Final Fantasy VII, which obviously was a huge success for Square. on the PlayStation 1. They wanted to one-up themselves with Final Fantasy VIII. Obviously, Final Fantasy VIII did sell a decent amount, but it didn't sell, I don't think it sold nearly as well as Final Fantasy VII. But in terms of the franchise after 7, obviously, they ended up getting a huge budget for Final Fantasy VIII. They tried to, like I said, one-up themselves with Final Fantasy VIII. But 8 itself is not a bad game. I think that obviously it did change quite a few things between 7 and 8. Obviously the setting was not one of them, because it stayed with the futuristic tone of the franchise. Obviously did feature a little bit more fantasy. Oh, okay, so you can use directional pad. Oh shit, we're playing Kingdom Hearts, I put the wrong disc in. That's what it reminds me of. But obviously, like I said, I didn't really get into Final Fantasy until after playing Kingdom Hearts, obviously. That Kingdom Hearts was my franchise compared to Final Fantasy, which obviously was my dad's, which is initially why I think he ended up getting Kingdom Hearts in the first place. Now, I might get pinged for this, I don't know. Obviously, I think this is an FMV from the original game, obviously. Yeah, there it is, yeah. But yeah, the budget for this game, obviously after 7, was much bigger, obviously due to the success of Final Fantasy VII. And they put it to good use. Obviously more FMVs in the game. Obviously the music was I guess I was gonna say increase is not the word used, but like the music, obviously they wanted to take a step up from 7's soundtrack, and 7's soundtrack compared to some of the other games in the franchise, I think it's one of the most classic in terms of the Final Fantasy franchise. Obviously you look at 7, you look at 6, and you look at 4, maybe it's the 3 games that their soundtracks are, you know, talked about a lot in terms of the Final Fantasy franchise. Obviously there's some tracks in some of the other games that are really, really, really good. In terms of the other games, like you even look at the original main theme for the original Final Fantasy, and that song has been carried through pretty much almost all future Final Fantasy games, and there's a reason for that. Obviously it is a good track in its own right, but obviously it is something that's recognisable in terms of that being the theme of Final Fantasy. But obviously the instrumentation for the rest, that's how Squall, aka Leon, gets his signature scar. Yeah, he's Squall in this game. Obviously Squall Leonhart obviously gets the nickname Leon later on in Kingdom Hearts, and then it kind of stuck. So obviously for this remastered they updated the models, as well as obviously up-resing some of the old graphics as well. just go with Squall. Yeah, so Cypher, which obviously we've seen in Kingdom Hearts 2, a younger, or technically a younger version of Cypher in that game. Obviously we had, Squall in the first Kingdom Hearts. Selphie is another character from this game that's also in Kingdom Hearts 1. Quistis, yeah. But we don't have many of the characters from 8 showing up in the Kingdom Hearts franchise. Obviously, it's Squall and Selphie, and I think that actually might be it out of the list. And Cypher, sorry, Cypher, Rai, and I forget, Raijin and Kaijin, something like that. Because they're shorthand in Kingdom Hearts 2. They're like Cypher's lackeys, so I don't... So yeah, other than those characters, obviously Tidus and Waka from 10, and I guess you got Yuffie, Aerith, Cloud, and Tifa from 7, obviously and Sephiroth as well, I should say. Well, I mean, I got a fucking scar on my face and swiped across, so I don't know. I don't know whether they remastered the soundtrack for this game with the remaster, because some remasters do and some remasters don't. So it feels weird that they bracketed and in the color as well. But obviously, like, I think these are pre-rendered backgrounds in particular. So obviously these are summons. So yeah, so we're running on an ATB system, obviously. Obviously that has not changed for the remaster. I'm okay with the ATB system in particular. Like, obviously I've played games like, eventually played Bravely Default and stuff like that. So ultimately I do know how to play with an ATB system. I'm not as used to it as a action RPG. Forget what GS stands for. Oh yeah, and you gotta draw fucking magic in this game. I forgot about that. Yeah, so that's a nice thing about this game in particular, is that I don't know whether they did this for 7. But for 8, even if you do a little bit of damage to an enemy and run away, you will still actually get experience for it. Obviously, I think that the experience will be obviously decreased for not defeating the opponent. And there we go, we got the introduction for Selfie. Yeah, so that's cards obviously for I forget what the fucking card game's called now. Because I was gonna say Tetramaster, but that's not right, that's Final Fantasy IX. Cafeteria. Quad. Infirmary, which we were at. And then obviously Sid is the headmaster, which is fine. That's pause button. Triangle. Oh, no, it's not what we want. That's fully exiting out of the game. So can't draw yet. There's, I think in the obviously in certain locations you have draw points. And then we kind of get the junction tutorial for the junction system, which was introduced in this game. So yeah, it's the abilities. Because I think normally that we don't have abilities in particular for characters. Whereas we used to get that with the materia system for Final Fantasy VII. And obviously the junction system replaced that for 8. The Guardian Force, that's the one. Magic damage. Raises. Okay, so raises it's not the defensive version. East, so I'm guessing it's here. Up in our first red battle. Oh, okay, no, I'm doing Quistis as well as Squall. Okay, that's why I was confused. I was like, because I forgot that my ATB bar was filling, but I forgot that I was also. Oh, you can see the seams in between some of the areas. That kind of sucks, but you know. So yeah, so this is how you actually raise and lower stats in this game, because I don't think you also don't have armor and accessories in this game, I believe. If memory serves me correctly. Yeah. Magic. So strength. Attack favors strength. Magic favors magic, which no shit. And defense is raising HP, which is also pretty good. So you can kind of customize your characters to the way that you want with auto. So obviously you can have like I wouldn't say it's a tank, but it's like a similar type of structure to a tank in the terms of dealing out as much damage as possible. Obviously with magic, if you've got a mage, if you want to go for a mage, you can put them through the magic stat, or if you want a defensive character that has a lot of HP, excuse the dogs in the background. They like to bark when they feel like it. Oh, they say you can. Yeah, so I think with Limit Break, I think it's a little bit like a rhythm game, where you gotta press R1 at the right time, if memory serves correctly. Go 20 minutes. I'm sure there might be an achievement for getting less than 10 minutes for this thing. Surprised you can't go up there. Again, that's God damn it, Christus. So I think the timer also includes random battles as well. Obviously not the loading screens, obviously that's the difference. So yeah, so that winning animation from Squall was ripped out of this game and put into Kingdom Hearts 1 for Sora. Yeah, especially for the Colosseum. Obviously the spinning blade was for Cloud. Just got that a little bit. Now. There we go. That was me pressing the R1 button the right time. Obviously the ATB bar stopped filling when the opponents will attack. Surprised that bomb enemy is not going down yet. There we go. So we do have obviously some Phoenix Downs and stuff like that, which is good. We have none. Let's go Junction. Put Shaver on Squall. We got no magic to worry about at the moment. Oh, damn it. Nope. Hey. Quistis was like, nope, we're not having this. It's gonna draw it for, yeah, so I'm going to draw it for certain magic. Obviously, I think with magic in particular, I don't think it was a strictly magic point. I think it was strictly magic points in that game, and like ability points. obviously with some of the previous games in the franchise, obviously Thunder. Draw the other and scan, okay. So I think, yes, I think Scan might have been... I'm trying to think whether that was included first in this game or whether it was in a previous game. I'm sure it was in... I have a feeling it was in a previous game. I wouldn't have been surprised if it was added for this game in particular. Ifrit. Ouch. Oh, okay, well, the timer had to go down before we changed into Shiva. So yeah, so these are the Guardian Forces are basically our summons for this. I was like, full on Diamond Dust, I'm like, yeah, that's definitely Shiva. Gonna do a lot of damage. This is gonna hurt. Ow. Cure. Okay, that's actually gonna come in handy later on. Oh, Quistis, take a punch to the face there. So I was gonna say it was health, I was imagining. I was like, yeah, that's probably gonna. I don't think there is a way to skip the animation for the summon, though. I'm sure I pressed Quistis, but okay. Oh, okay. No, I wasn't looking. I thought it was through the menu, not. That's my bad. At least I know that now. This might hurt a little bit. Get one more attack in before Diamond Dust comes through. That's right, the other times, 3 times, by pressing L3. at least we got... See, now if this was the original game, we'd be taking forever with some of these, obviously, abilities and like the attacks and stuff like that would take forever. Something Ifrit. Also, we know that, and elemental parameters. See, this is why some people think that the junction system itself, and even some of the systems in the future, are very complex and like a little bit confusing, because there's so much to like the inventories and stuff like that that you gotta remember to do. Whereas with something like the materia system in 7, it wasn't as crazy, I guess, in terms of how many menus you have to go in for particular stats and stat boosting stuff and all that type of thing. It's one of those things that I think that, in particular, when it comes down to Final Fantasy, after 7 is then it kind of gets a little bit too complex. Damage reduced to 0. So you absorb the damage. So does that increase? Your HP or something like that? Environmentals, which we obviously... I bet the timer's gone. Quizzes, you don't even have to attack because it's a cloud. The Squall took it out. Yeah, I reckon we'll wrap up in just a moment. I want to get out of here obviously first. Just before the screen transition. I'm gonna go wee. Ah. Okay. Draw some. Really? There. There's a cave, fire cavern. right. Just want to get to a save point. Like it's safe. Got anything to draw? Well, the music is not obviously sped up. Well, a little bit strange, but I can understand why. Yeah, so another tutorial. So there's a lot of tutorials at the start of the game, which I mean, it's not necessarily a bad thing for it. Because obviously you're gonna wrap your head around all these menus and stuff like that. Because if you don't have a tutorial and you have all these menus to do, it's like I never know. And then you're just done, basically. Then it will go to learning that one, and the AP will go to that. Yeah. So it does give you an incentive to do battles. But yeah, I reckon we're going to leave it there for Final Fantasy VIII Remastered. So it's a lot of stuff to wrap your head around with this game in particular. I mean, the junction system was always like that. There's one thing that people complained about when it comes down to the system added compared to the materia system in 7. Was that there was a lot of tutorials and a lot of things to wrap your head around in terms of the junction system. I know that it sounds, when I say junction, it sounds really weird when I say that. I think it used to take it, and I love the fact that this is disc 1. So you technically got all, I think it's 3 discs for this game. Memory serves, maybe it might be 4, I can't remember. But it's at least 3, I know that for sure. But yeah, I reckon I'm going to leave it there for Final Fantasy VIII Remastered. So what do we think? Obviously there's a lot that I got to wrap my head around. The ATB system is still as great as ever. Obviously the story, we haven't had much story so far. But again, we're only just starting the game out, so that's fair enough. But yeah, no, it looks good. The music is really good still as well. But yeah, it's very much Final Fantasy VIII, one of those ones that is very much a learning curve when it comes to learning all its different systems under the junction system, and how everything works in the menus and stuff like that. It's one of those things that's just a bit, and you just got to take some time to wrap your head around. So it's not necessarily a bad thing. But with all that said, thank you guys so much for watching this first campaign impressions video of Final Fantasy VIII Remastered for the Sony PlayStation 4. This has been Ryan Fantasy 100. You guys have a great day or night, and of course, take care.